All right. Well, what is it?
So, um, so I'm gonna go over with you because it might sound a little bit weird at first, okay? But I'm gonna explain the rationale, okay?
Okay.
So, it's two counts. So one is conspiracy to commit making threats, a gross misdemeanor, and battery domestic violence. Credit time served on both counts, waiving all defects, and forfeiting any of the firearms that were seized. Okay, so I
But
know the word
those
conspiracy sounds crazy, but that's
those
so you're
firearms are not mine.
yeah. So you're forfeiting your interest in them, okay? And I'll let the DA know that hey, firearms aren't yours; they're somebody else's,
So
okay?
does
So
that
thank you,
mean
Blake.
they'll be returned to Richard?
If Richard can provide proof of them, yes,
Okay. Yeah, I haven't.
okay.
I know
So
he's got receipts. Is that what you're talking about?
yes,
All right. And
so
he's got the original boxes, I think, with most of them.
okay.
Um, okay,
Let me.
so what kind of charge is this, though?
So the first count is a gross misdemeanor. The second count is a straight up misdemeanor. Okay. So the reason for the battery domestic violence, I know you didn't do domestic violence, right? We're not idiots. The reason they want that is just so you don't own firearms anymore. Okay.
Yeah, but that's not right. So they're wanting me to admit to something that they know too is not true.
Correct. That's why we're waiving all defects. We understand that it's fictitious, but that this is why we're getting to it. That we are pleading to these counts to get to a resolution that we can all agree to.
But it's wrong for not just me, but for anyone to admit to something they know they didn't do. That's just totally against every, even from a moral standpoint, ethical, moral, but bottom line, they're asking me to admit to something I didn't do. So I know you want to settle this thing, but honestly, I think that they're looking for an excuse for me not to be able to come back and sue them. Is basically what it is.
Partner, nobody cares about you suing them.
Okay, all right. Well, the whole thing is when the correct me if I'm wrong. If I were to take a deal, that would do two things. Number one, I'd have to admit to being the defendant, which is the first lie, and then I'd have to admit to this. What was it again? Attempted conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy to commit making threats, and we would tell the court up front that there was no conspiracy or anything. That the reason we are agreeing to it is to get to the gross misdemeanor.
Yeah, but I don't want a gross misdemeanor on my record. Number one. Number two, they're asking me to sign something admitting that I did something that I know I didn't do. And actually they're admitting the same thing just based on what you just said, which doesn't make sense to me that a court would accept something like that because it's more like coercion. It's like, okay,
That's not what coercion is. You don't have to take this
I
deal.
I
They're giving you
understand.
the option of taking a deal that avoids a felony, probation, jail time. They're literally just telling you you're done here.
I understand that. But it also is providing them with a record that says I did something that I know I didn't do. This is where I have a problem. And what I don't understand is how the system can support this knowing full well, the way you explained it, what did you say, as a means to get to a settlement. They want to settle, but they're doing this against me, putting me in a corner where, hey, it's either this or you risk going to prison. And that, to me, is a form of coercion, because the odds are against me in any kind of situation like this where it's a government employee that is saying this on the record. I understand that. It's just like, this is why cops, even though they may even have it on video, they may do something that is obviously unlawful, but nothing happens to them. But when it's someone like me, the average Joe, who's trying to do the right thing, because that's what this is about. I was doing the right thing, reporting a crime. I wasn't taking things into my own hands. I was reporting a crime. So I'm going to have to think about this. I'm going to have to consult. There's somebody that I've been talking to about this that's assisting me. So I'm at a crossroads now. It's not that I don't want this to go away, but what it's telling me, is there probation with this too?
No, it's literally credit time served. You're done. As soon as you get you sign that, if you were to sign the guilty plea agreement, you're done. You're like, we can get you out of there. No more court dates. None of that.
But now I've got a record, or at least
it'll be on your record.
That legal name has a record now. All right. Well, can I get back to you?
Yeah. How long are you gonna need?
Well, I got to get a hold of my associate, and I don't know. Can you give me a few days? Couple of days.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to buy you as much time as possible. The reason is they're gonna want this probably done before the briefing is due. Okay.
Which is what, December 2nd?
Yeah, that's the date I have on. I've written it on here where the briefing.
Yeah,
the briefing
there's three court dates that are scheduled: December 2nd, December 9th, and December 15th.
Yeah, so it's on December 2nd.
Yeah. What I forgot to ask you this: that other court case that's in the lower court.
Yeah.
What happened at 8:30?
They just continued it. They did a status check for the 17th.
Okay, so is that the misdemeanor?
That's the misdemeanor.
The one that they're saying take that and the gross misdemeanor? Well, I can tell you right now, the gross misdemeanor, I have a problem. I mentioned to you that the misdemeanor, it could be construed that someone reporting a crime about their own employees could be considered annoying. I could see the possibility of it falling under that definition. You follow me? So the gross misdemeanor part, though, where I'm having to admit to something I know full well, there's no conspiracy. And the whole problem that I have is that I have not been able to tell my side of the story yet. And it's a good story. The jury has to prove beyond, or the prosecution has to prove to the jury beyond a reasonable doubt. Or is there a reasonable doubt that she's not telling the truth? And that there is actually a recording, they're just withholding it? That's the greater likelihood.
Multiple times that's a good.
Well, I'm just saying that is a possibility, right? They have to look at all the possibilities and look at the fact that I have no record. They're putting me in a position where I'm being coerced, and I've already been punished. Prior to anything, I've already been punished. What's the jury going to say about keeping me in jail with no bail bond for 7 months?
Why was that relevant to whether or not you made a statement?
Well, due process was not followed. So
Okay,
all,
how is that relevant to the phone call?
it's relevant because the phone call, I'm saying, did not occur the way they are. And credibility has to do with how this was handled. This was not handled in an appropriate, lawful manner. It was handled in a haphazard way. They're throwing stuff against the wall, hoping it sticks.
No, I get that you want to say this to the jury, but I'm going to let you know right now that if the prosecutor is at least paying attention, not asleep, they're going to object to this all day, and that they should, and the judge is likely to sustain it.
Well,
So,
I'm just saying that I have to have an opportunity to talk to the jury, to explain my side of the story. Otherwise, that's not a fair trial. How can it be possibly be construed as a fair trial when I am not allowed to speak about what actually happened that day?
If you go on about how Judge Holtis remanded you unfairly and whatnot, they're not there to adjudicate that.
I didn't say anything about that. I didn't say anything about that. I said being taken into custody unlawfully and held for 7 months prior to any kind of a judgmental decision. We're talking. So here's the other problem I have. I've talked to a few people that are psychiatrists, and they said you have a huge lawsuit there. They don't have proof of. They told me, they said there's supposed to be an open court hearing where I have the opportunity to question those doctors, especially when the conversations only lasted 3 minutes. And he said there's supposed to be a recording of that. If it's not an open court hearing where a court reporter is, then that video hearing should be available. And they're saying it's not. The other thing is there's supposed to be one psychiatrist, one psychologist. They were both psychologists. So these are all things that I have brought up that disregard NRS. So right now I can tell you, if it was just the misdemeanor, I would be more apt to agree to that. It's the fact that they're adding on this additional, and I have a feeling it's because of how long they kept me in there. Because a misdemeanor is 0 to 6 months.
Partner, it's credit time served, right?
Well, I understand that, but it's more than 6 months, so that's more than just a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor is 0 to 6 months. So
I know.
So in any event, I'm appreciative of the offer. I'm going to do some research on this and get back to you in the next couple of days. The worst case scenario would be Wednesday.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So that's the public defender's office out of Clark County, Nevada, speaking to Douglas Joseph. And as you heard, they want him to plead to a charge that they're just going to make up. They want him to plead to the charge with defects. In other words, it's a defective charge. We just want to do this so you can't have any guns anymore. A misdemeanor that you get to sign up to agreeing not to have guns anymore. Not sure how that makes any sense, but or how that could even be agreed to. Other than obviously it's contract that you're trying to create a contractual agreement through. We won't throw you in a cage anymore, or you won't risk going to prison for the lies that are being told about the phone call you made to the Clark County Sheriff's Office reporting a crime. The guns in this matter belong to the man who owns the house where Douglas lives. They're not his guns. They just took the guns and tried to say that they're his guns, as you well heard. Well, you're going to give up interest in them. So they took another man's property who's not charged with any crime. because this is the America you live with the Bar Association, and they're colluding to get what they want. It's not about justice anymore. It's not about right and wrong. It's about winning. Really, that's all that's important, is that they win. Cash in on the bonds that are being created on the case. Unfortunately, too many people are not even aware of that the bonds are being created, that the case is monetized, that this is a big money machine. But you heard it for yourself. You can hit the comment section down below and let me know what you think about this. This is what's going on in America in these so-called courts. Thanks for listening.